Welcome back. We're discussing possible scenarios in Afghanistan now that President Hamid Karzai has conceded that he fell short of an outright victory in the country's election. I am joined by Afghan-American journalist Fariba Nawa in San Francisco, California, James Madison University professor Shah Mahmood Hanifi in Charlottesville, Virginia, and with me here in Washington is Christine Fair, a political scientist with the RAND Corporation who's worked with the UN mission in Afghanistan. Welcome to all of you. I'm going to start now with Shah Mahmood Hanifi. Mr. Hanifi, there's a report in this morning's Financial Times which quotes an unnamed United States administration official, and he is quoted as saying that the outcome of the election will certainly affect the president's strategy insofar as Afghanistan is concerned. What do you think are the options that the White House is looking at right now?
Well, not all of them are known to me. In the first instance, but I think investing so heavily, not only ideologically, but economically in the elections might be worth reconsidering. I think the political pulse of Afghanistan beats in the rural zone, not in Kabul or Washington. And these elections, framed from that perspective, appear more like fixing a leaky roof when the basement is flooding. You know, I don't see the legitimacy of the regime in Kabul being substantially buttressed by any second round of elections. So I think still the context. Yes, go ahead.
All right, let me go to the phones. We got a caller from Pakistan. This is Saz calling from Pakistan. Go ahead.
Yes, how you doing? And thank you for taking my call. And I just want to make 2 and 3 points to the panel that this American style or Western style, election won't do any good to the Afghani people, because they have spoken out. They are not in favor of NATO troops or the American troops in their country, because this is bringing chaos to the country of Afghanistan and their people. And now they want the Western-style democratic system in Afghanistan, which will bring nothing. But I think a disaster to the country. No freedom will come to Afghanistan. Democracy of this kind won't prevail in the part of Afghanistan and the regional areas. So I think American should take a different approach to the regional as well, because they are interrupting domestically just to put their man like Karzai in the government to run the show. That's about it.
Okay, thank you for your calls. Christine, well, the viewer makes the point there that this Western-style election is not suited to Afghanistan. Is the West overlooking certain realities on the ground in Afghanistan, especially when one looks at how the country has been run so far? It's been run as little fiefdoms by tribal chiefs all over.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, I think there were a number of concerns about the way in which the Constitution was framed, with a very strong central government, a very weak parliament by design, and very little devolution of resources to the lower levels of government, such as the districts. I also take the caller's point that in certain parts of Afghanistan, the appetite and tolerance for Western troops has certainly diminished. But I would like to make the very important point that is deeply ironic that this phone call came in from Pakistan, when virtually every Afghan I've ever met points out that their security is most compromised by Pakistan and its support of the Taliban. And I think that's really important. It is easy to say that Karzai is the puppet of the West, but I think it's also important to realize and to acknowledge, especially in Pakistan, that the Taliban has been the handmaiden of Islamabad. And I think this raises a larger point that Afghanistan has really become a battlefield of predatory neighbors and international actors who seek to develop Afghanistan in ways that advance their security. And some of these actors are very much at odds. I think what America, what Iran, and what India wants in Afghanistan is much more convergent than what Pakistan wants in Afghanistan.
Okay, let's go to one of our viewers who sent us a message via live station, and this is Marston in the United States. And he asks, if Afghanistan fails to establish a stable government over the next few months, what do you predict some of the real effects this could have on the US and NATO's presence in the region? Fariba Nawa, let me give you a chance to have a go at that one.
Afghanistan's not going to establish a government in the next few months. That's my whole point. It can't be done. It's not a quick fix. And I think what the counterinsurgency efforts are, what the impact of those are going to be doesn't really depend on this current government. I think Obama's strategy is on the right track, except I don't agree with having more troops. I don't think that that's really the answer. But I do think that it is important to focus, again, on institution building. We need to have institutions that bring about a legitimate government, and that's going to take time. Now, do we have the time with the insecurity that's in the country right now? I think that's really the question. How will we bring peace as fast as possible and a government that's legitimate? And these questions are at odds with each other, and there's no easy answer. And I always turn back to having a strong leader, which we haven't had during these eight years.
Okay, let's go to Oliver calling us from Virginia. Oliver?
Yes, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, how come the U.S. military personnel in Afghanistan and all these experts from the intelligence community for the last 8 years, they could not have predicted the situation in Afghanistan to be deteriorated to this point? I mean, where were the intelligence reports that could have predicted the situation, and where are all the billions of dollars that were spent and the thousands of U.S. soldiers who lost their lives? I mean, it just makes me amazed. This war is not like a 6-month-old war. This is an 8 years war. And now they're saying that we could lose Afghanistan. So what we were doing for the last 8 years?
Okay, let's ask Dr. Hanifi to try and answer that one. Dr. Hanifi, there's the caller making the point there. The troops have been there for 8 years. Has it been a failure so far?
I would have to think yes. I can't see a great deal of tangible, positive progress. And really, when it comes to measuring things in Afghanistan, also, it's important to realize how little information and data at least enters the public realm. There might be a lot of security information that academics such as myself aren't privy to, but really I think in many ways the international community is flying blind due to an information deficit about the country, not only in its kind of political dimensions and dynamics, but at the ground level of cultural interaction. And sort of in that sense, I think the elections and the election process as currently constructed does not much more than amplify existing tensions and disparities in the country over region and ethnicity, and not much to alleviate them.
Okay, let's go to Canada next. Wahida is calling from Canada.
Hello. I'm sorry to take your time. I just wanted to say something very brief. The two politicians in Afghanistan, the two main contenders, are preoccupied with competing against each other. But my suggestion is that instead of them investing their time and their money in finding a position in the country or in becoming a role model for everybody else, why don't they unite together? Why don't they work together so that they can, with their ideas or mentality, or they can bring a united government. And also, I feel sorry for the Afghans who are suffering in other countries. For example, in Pakistan, we have seen a video that was shown in Al Jazeera, and it was devastating. You could see people kicking, or Pakistanis abusing Afghan people. What is this? I say,
okay.
I tell Karzai and all these people to wake up and become one, and try to help out your country members.
All right, Wahida. Thank you for your call. Christine, there's a viewer making the point there again of a national unity government. One of the European Union representatives in Afghanistan said that the election fraud was planned and systematic, with collusion from Afghan officialdom. If there is a national unity government, would that mean that Hamid Karzai is getting away with it?
Well, look, he's going to get away with it. And I'm actually glad that you raised this point of long-term systemic planning for a fraudulent election. When I was in Afghanistan in May 2008, it was very clear that the Independent Directorate for Local Governance, which had been raised, ironically, to try and appoint provincial and district level governors on the basis of merit, everyone was calling it the Karzai re-election campaign, that in fact it was used to appoint at these different levels sympathetic...
We're going to have to leave it there, I'm
well,
afraid.
there you go.
We've run out of time. Thanks to all our guests for being with us, and thank you for watching. Remember, you can follow Al Jazeera's frontline coverage of Afghanistan and the region at our website. That's at aljazeera.net/English. You'll find the latest updates and blog entries from our team of correspondents. On the next show, the UN is warning that tensions between rebel and government forces in Darfur are escalating, raising the threat of more violence. The US has just announced a new policy towards peace in the shattered region. Can President Obama's carrot and stick approach work? We'll take a look. Make sure to tune in for that. We'll see you the next time.